Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm actually going to be doing a requested video. I'm so excited because it's my first official request, someone who's not my family or friend telling me to do some video. But anyway, the video that I was requested to do is to discuss the pros and cons of working at Chase. But I also wanted to go over two questions that I get a lot from my previous video, advice on how to get the teller/associate banker position at Chase. So first of all, I wanted to kind of talk about why I left Chase. So the reason why I left Chase is because I'm a college student, I'm in business, and I want to leave Chase in order to have more time to be active in school and kind of develop myself a little bit more and get an internship. Luckily, I have been able to do that. I'm doing an internship right now. So yeah, that's why I left Chase. And the second question that I get a lot is what happens after the interview? How long do I have to wait till they reach out to me? How do I know if I got the job? Like all of that. So when I did the Chase interview, I interviewed with two people. So I applied through Indeed.com. I got a call like a couple days after. It wasn't that long because I remember I was like so shocked and everything. And I went and I interviewed with the manager. And then a couple days later, she called me and she said, hey, like I'm going to have you interview with another manager, like a friend of hers. And then I was just like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm doing a second interview. You know what I mean? Like freaking out. After I did that second interview, it took like about a week or so, and I got a call from HR telling me that I got the job and what the next steps were. So for me, that's how the process was. But based on the comments that I've received in my previous video, it seems that Chase is now doing video interviews for teller positions. So I'm not 100% sure how that process is like because that's not the process that I went through. Mine was in person, 2 in-person interviews. So definitely it should be HR that calls you. If you interview with them through a video interview, try to get their contact information so you can email them after like a week or so and let them know like, hey, have y'all made any selections? You know what I mean? Just like to kind of get an update, because if you don't get anything, you're literally not gonna know. So definitely get their contact information if you can. Get their name and email and follow up with them after the so if you get their contact info, follow up with them after the interview and be like, hey, like thank you so much for your time, I really enjoyed talking about, and like name one specific thing that maybe y'all had in common or that like you enjoyed learning about them or something like that. And after that, follow up with them like once more, like about a week after, if you haven't heard back, and be like, hey, I just want to follow up and see if there has been any selections on the potential candidates that will be taking this teller position or whatever it is. So definitely do that. All right, anyway, so let's go into the pros and cons for working at Chase. I wrote them down just because I want to make sure that I kind of talked about what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the pros. So my number one pro is the training that you receive at Chase. And I feel like this can sometimes be like overseen because sometimes people are like, whatever, like who cares about the training? But once you get a little bit older and you've worked at multiple jobs, you realize how important training is, because you don't want to go into a job and like just be thrown in there and like you learn by yourself. You know what I mean? I don't like when I ask a company like, so what does your training look like? And they're like, oh, it's kind of like you learn as you go. It just kind of like, really, you know what I mean? Because like you're gonna feel unprepared your first days and weeks, so it's even worse when you kind of have to learn on your own. So the training for Chase, it is amazing. So for me personally, I went into a 3-day teller classes from 8 to 5, and I'm there with other tellers training as well, like from the area where I'm at. and we're all training together. We all have a computer, and we have like the software that we use at the job, and we're giving like sample transactions and stuff like that. So that's so helpful because it's like kind of hands-on. You're doing literally what you're going to be doing at the actual job. In addition to that, you have monthly trainings to kind of freshen up things that you should know. And any changes that happen, you're always like kept up to date pretty much. So my pro number 2 is work-life balance. This is like a huge like value of mine. Just work-life balance is so huge to me. So it was awesome when I got this job because their hours are Monday through Friday. They close at 6 p.m. So you have like the evening, the remainder of the day, the evening to, just to do whatever you want. And Saturdays, they close at 2. So if you have like a party to go to or whatever, you can do that. You don't have to ask for the day off. And then Sundays, of course, are closed. So you have that time as well. Next is flexibility and willingness to accommodate. So this was very important to me as a college student because I have like certain days and hours that I can work. Ever since I started working at Chase, I've always been in college. So I've never had a problem with a manager like not wanting to accommodate with me. They were always so helpful and like, yeah, they were just always so helpful. Like they made it feel very welcomed to ask for a certain day off because in college a lot of times you get like last minute slots to sign up for appointments to take tests and things like that. So I always just felt fine like being like, hey, like so sorry, but like I need this day off, whatever. It did always accommodate with me. So that was a huge thing for me. And if you are a college student, that's like so important as well. So next, my third pro is the team environment of Chase. They have this thing called One Chase where we all work together as one. And I really like that just because, I was a teller, so everybody else is like a banker or like financial advisor, branch manager. So it just felt nice because, it didn't matter what position you were. We were all working together for a common goal. So I really enjoyed that. Next is benefits. Part-time employees get the same benefits that full-time employees get, which not a lot of companies do. So you definitely have to appreciate when a company does that for their part-time employees. It really just shows that they take care of their employees. So the benefits are amazing. Next pro is the quarterly events. Every quarter, there's like a certain event that the branch does as a team. So things like Top Golf, main events, little like fun activities. All right, so next we're gonna go into the cons. All right, so let's get into it. So my number 1 con is that it's difficult to move up if you're not full-time. So for tellers, they have like different like hours, I guess, that you can do. So they have like 20-hour teller, 25-hour teller, 30-hour teller. Also, that kind of brings me to another thing. Another con is that with Chase, so my position that I did was a 20-hour teller. But when I applied, I was like, oh, perfect. Like, I'm going to get 20-something hours. No, it's literally 20 hours, like exactly 20 hours. Every now and then, they give you more, but you're literally going to be doing 20 hours, which is good because at least you're guaranteed 20 hours. But if you need to be, like maybe you have more things to pay and you need to work more, like sometimes it's not possible. You know what I mean? Like it's 20 hours because you're, whatever your position is, that's however many hours you're going to do most of the time, unless like somebody leaves and they have like extra hours and things like that. So that was definitely a con. Another con is actually transferring. So a lot of times they randomly have to transfer people. So because of automation and ATM machines and stuff like that, the demand for tellers is not that high because we have machines that are, doing the same things for a lesser cost pretty much. So there's no like need that much for to have that many tellers anymore. So frequently we see transfers. So they'll just kind of give you like a little heads up, like, hey, somebody's gonna have to get transferred from your branch, and somebody gets chosen and they have to transfer to another branch, which kind of sucks because with Chase, the culture is really awesome. So it's kind of like you make a little family with the people that you work with in the branch, and then they're randomly like, hey, like you have to leave. So that kind of sucks. They do like send you to like a close branch. You know what I mean? It's not like an hour away or whatever, but it's still definitely an inconvenience when you have to transfer over to another branch. So for me, I worked in Chase for 3 years and 9 months, and I worked in 5 different branches. Let me see. One of them, I think only one of them was a transfer that I had, that they just kind of told me that I had to transfer. The rest were actually me having to transfer for my school because I moved around in my schools a bit. So yeah, I think just one was a transfer that was just, I was given no option. But I did get transferred to a branch that was, it was just like 2 extra minutes away from my house. So the one I really originally worked with was 7 minutes away. This one was like 11 minutes away. So it was like, I was fine with it. Let's see, my next con is, so there's actually a lot of policies and procedures working at a bank. There's a lot of things that you need to know. You have to do everything a certain way. So it kind of depends on the type of person that you are. I am a person that loves structure. Like, I want to know what the right thing is, what the wrong thing is, like, and like there's no in between, because I hate when like there's a bunch of exceptions that have to be done, because you never know, oh, is this an exception? Can I just do it? You know what I mean? Like, Chase really gives you like a black or white. There is no in between. So you have it really clear what you have to do. But again, some people may not like it. And also there's a lot of things that are constantly changing. The policies and procedures are changing very often. So you have to kind of like stay updated and remember what the correct way is, because sometimes you get used to doing it a certain way and then they're like, oh, hey, never mind. This is the way you have to do it for now on. So, you know, you kind of forget. But again, you always have your team helping you out, reminding you like, hey, like, remember, we have to do it like this for now on or whatever. So also another con that I personally had was I had a really hard time adjusting to this job. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It did take me a couple of months to get used to everything, just because for me it was so much to learn. Like, I went from working like from Petco to Chase. Like, I don't know, it was just a big change for me, and it was a lot of things to learn and get used to. Not to mention the branch I started with was the busiest one from the whole area, so it was so fast paced, and I was new, and I was, I really felt the pressure, when customers are like staring at you and you're like trying to do everything fast, but then you mess up. So I would say a con when you're new is it can be definitely challenging, but it is doable. You're going to learn it. It may seem in the beginning like, oh my god, like, I don't know, like, I freaking suck, like, y'all are so much faster than me. But I ended up being like super fast. So definitely with practice you will be fine. But that was definitely a con that I wanted to kind of state, especially if you're watching this video, you're probably going to be a new person. So definitely just be ready for the challenge and just stay positive and know that you will get it. You will get there. Practice will get you there. My next con that I kind of hesitated in mentioning this, but I have to mention it because this is a risk that you have to take, and like, you have to be aware of it and you have to keep it in your mind. Unfortunately, bank robberies happen, and something that you just have to have in mind. I remember, since I met a lot of people in Chase, a lot of people have gotten robbed. And I remember one time I was talking to this guy, and he's like, oh yeah, like it's gonna happen to you, like it's bound to happen. And I was like, oh my god, like are you serious? Like, oh crap, you know what I mean? Like shoot, like should I quit? Like I don't want to get robbed. Luckily it never happened to me, but it's definitely something that you have to just be aware of, especially in the holidays. You really just have to, you know, just keep it in your mind that it is something that may potentially happen. Of course, there's controls to avoid this, but just want to put it out there. You know, it's a con. It's something that you have to think about. And oh, also the request wanted me to go over daily tasks that are involved in being a teller or associate banker. And again, associate banker is a new name for tellers, for the teller position. So daily tasks for the teller position are processing transactions. This is the main task that you're going to be doing. So you are going to be dealing with large amounts of cash, so you want to make sure you're comfortable handling large amounts of cash and you're also good at it, you know, that you're not like short or over and things like that. So things that you will be doing, deposits, withdrawals, payments, transfers, cashier's checks, and savings bonds. And currency exchanges, like when businesses go and they're like, oh hey, like I have $100, can I get this amount in quarters, nickels, dimes, whatever. Also being an adopter, which is what the person who is in the front greeting customers as they walk in is called. So what you do when you're being the adopter is you're greeting customers, helping them out. If the branch has an EATM machine in the lobby, then you're going to be helping them do the transactions in the ATM. You're going to be coordinating with bankers, so the people who are sitting down waiting to see bankers, you got to kind of keep track of who's next and what they each want to do, and try to kind of filter out maybe if a certain thing can be done in the teller line, maybe take them there and like help them do that way the lobby, you know, is not filled with people. Also trying to incorporate people to do transactions in the Chase app and stuff like that. And then of course every day before you leave you have to balance your cash box. So that's when you count your cash. The computer will tell you how much money you should have of each denomination, and you count your cash and see if it matches what the computer says you should have. So anyway, that completes my pros and cons video, my pros and cons and the daily tasks that I did as a teller. So I just want to kind of mention, so right now I'm a business student, so if anybody has any questions, definitely ask me whatever you want. It doesn't have to be about Chase in particular, just any question you may have. And also, just I want to state the culture of Chase is really, really great. So far, that's the best culture that I have ever interacted with in a company. But yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to say. Definitely leave me your questions below and I will answer them. I have been answering to pretty much like almost every comment. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Bye!